So Grey4Green is a company that's really dedicated to showing individuals how to do gray water themselves. We manufacture the equipment, but yet we put out a lot of videos, a lot of content to show individuals the advantages of gray water, how you can do it yourself, and detailed instructions to make it all work together. And our idea is that gray water is a great way to keep the environment nice and green, sequester carbon, sequester particulate matter, and save water. So
Awesome. And Joseph, just in case someone isn't aware what gray water is, could you just really quickly tell us what gray water is?
gray water is taking water, it basically means your shower water and your laundry water. It's lightly used water. It's not your sewer water, but it's just that water that's been lightly used and can be used again. And the nice thing about when you use gray water for a landscape type of application, let's say you're using your shower. Every time you take a shower, the water flows out to your landscape and irrigates that landscape. It could be grass or a tree or shrubbery. And the dead skin that's on your body actually helps put nitrogen into the soil. So that way your plants are benefiting from your biological washing.
I'm curious, Joseph, if I'm thinking of installing a gray water system in my basic house, what things should I be aware of and looking out for? I mean, I know there's a lot of different things. If I wanted to irrigate a lawn, I know it'd be different than if I wanted to irrigate a tree. So what kind of, where would I get started?
I guess the first thing to get started is to understand where your gray water is going to come from. Either your bathroom or your shower, or your laundry. A nice thing that is in existence today for Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, is that all new homes since 2017 have been built with gray water as a alternative water source. So most of the newer homes already have the knockout. You just have to talk to your landscaper to tie into it or understand your business plans to know where that gray water valve is so you can take that water. Retrofits can, we look at, if you're remodeling your house, that's the time you want your plumber to plumb that second line, that second sewer line or that gray water line, and separate the sewer from the gray water. Now, if you're doing it yourself, if your house has a crawl space underneath it, that's an ideal type of house, because then you can get underneath the house. You can see where the pipes come down from the shower or from the laundry, and that's where you tap into it and you divert that flow of that water from instead of it going to the sewer system, it goes out to the yard as your gray water tub or your gray water filter system. And so that's the key when you want to start to look at gray waters. Where's that water source going to come from? Once you identify that, then everything else is really landscape type work.
What if I live in a two-story house? Does that make a difference than a ranch house?
Yeah, we find that some two-story houses have the shower line plumbed separately from the sewer line. So the way we look for it is we turn on the hot water in the shower. We go underneath the house and you feel for the trap or the line that's coming down from above, and whichever one is hot, that's what you're looking for. And if it's a 2-inch, it basically means that all the shower water is coming down a separate line by itself, because the toilet requires a 4-inch line. And we kind of explain that in our websites to, what type of pipe to look for. But you can still do it in a 2-story building. You can even put a gray water system if your bathroom is in the middle of the house on a slab. We've had a customer recently, actually 2 customers, and they both are in newer tract homes with slabs. The bathroom is in the middle of the house. And what we've done is they make these special pumps called sandy flow pumps. And they'll take that shower water, and every time you take a shower, it'll pump the water up into the rafters and out to the outside of the house. And then you pick it up there. And these pumps were really interesting. They're from originally developed in France in the 50s. And it was for you know, a house or a building that's been around for 400 years that you know, it didn't have that type of plumbing. So they created this type of pump that'll allow you to get water from a internal bathroom and get it to the outside. So
It sounds like some of these can be do-it-yourself projects and others are not. It sounds like you putting pumps in might be something for a professional like you to do.
yeah, you can have us do it, but we try to lay out really everything that we've learned. We try to put it on the videos so that way either you can take it on to yourself or you can show it to your plumber, so that you know you get both options. The way that I usually tackle a problem is I'll try it myself, and then if it doesn't work out, then I call in a pro. So that's kind of the way that we try to lay it out as well.
Joseph, could you tell me a little bit about a subground irrigation system, and then weigh in, is it better than sprinklers or drip lines?
Okay, so once you get the water outside of the house, you then are able to get it into the landscape. And the law basically says that gray water can be used anywhere around your landscape area, as long as it's under 3 inches or more of mulch. And so that's basically the rules of utilizing gray water. It can't be used in a spray irrigation or any type of surface irrigation. They want to avoid human contact. When I developed the product originally, the subsurface irrigation system, it was because everybody had said that you couldn't use gray water for your lawn. And I wanted to irrigate my lawn, and there was nothing on the market. So I created this subsurface irrigation pipe that allows you to put the pipe underneath the lawn, and the gray water flows into it, and it creates a virtual water table. That water table spreads a foot high and 8 feet wide, and that's where your lawn feeds from that subsurface pipe. So, and that's how we distribute gray water and make sure we follow all the health rules and everything else.
Okay, so you couldn't connect that to a drip line. It needs to stay underground?
Yeah, it needs to stay underground. There are gray water drip lines that are specially made for gray water. The thing with gray water is that you have all the soaps and all the detergents and conditioner items like that are still floating around in the water itself. And so you need a system that has large orifices. And so some drip lines have these really large orifices that are made for gray water. And so you can use those, but you cannot use spraying irrigation unless there's a caveat there. Unless your gray water is clean to a certain quality, what's called NSF 350, and you'll find some of the commercial buildings are going in that way. But the difference between what I'm talking about, a simple system and a complex system, a simple system, you can do it yourself. It's going to cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, depending on how complex it is and you know how much landscape and everything else. But a complex that cleans the water really high quality, so you can use it in a sprinkler system and disinfects it and everything, they start out at 12,000 to 14,000 just for the equipment. So I always find that that's a price point that a lot of people won't do the environmental right thing to do. So we try to offer a solution for that lower end of the market, the $1,000 to $5,000 range, so that you can really just do it yourself and feel happy about it.
So Joseph, so the water's going out of the house, and does it just go right to the plants, or does it go into some kind of a storage thing?
It actually goes to a filter first to take out the hairs and any large items that may have went down the drain. And then all the soaps and everything else still stay in the water. And then from that filter, it either flows gravity flow out to the yard, directly out to the yard, or it has a pump so they can pump it out to far points of the landscape. The gravity flow systems are what we try to emphasize, because that way they have less maintenance, less issues with them. I'm not saying that pumps have issues. It's just that you don't have to worry about it as much. The gravity flow then goes to a pump system, and then you can have self-cleaning systems as well, because the filter system I just described right now has a filter that needs replaced every 3 months to 6 months. And the filter runs about $1.25 each time you change it. So it's not really expensive to maintain. It's just that you have to take it out and put a new one in. What happens is that typically, if you have a household with people who have a lot of hair, you're using a lot of conditioner, and that conditioner is made to make your hair nice and full and fluffy. That conditioner also, as it goes down the drain, it attaches to the filter and clogs up the filter. So when you have more family members that have a lot of hair, you're going to change the filter more often.
I see. So there is no storage point where this water might sit and ferment or something bad. It just gets filtered and off it goes to our plants.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Very good question. The law doesn't allow you to keep it for more than 24 hours. If you keep it for more than 24 hours, it's going to start to ferment and start to create a smell. So it's constantly flowing through. It's constantly being pushed out. So,
Are there any other common mistakes to avoid with a gray water system?
The biggest mistake is not changing your filter. That'll back up everything, and then it'll create a puddle around where you put the filter itself. The other common problem that we see is, I would say it's not understanding the fact that when you're taking a shower, the water's going straight out to the landscape. You know, sometimes we get customers who forget that, and they have a lot of family over for a Thanksgiving, not during this COVID thing, and so they end up with a lot more water in the yard than they anticipated. So when you have something like that, you have to turn it off, so that way you don't get so much water going out to the yard. Now, on the reverse side, what we always encourage families to do is to put a supplement valve. A supplement valve is just like a regular sprinkler feeder that will fill the tank up. So when you go on vacation, the water, you're actually adding water to the gray water system, as if you were taking a showers and you're washing clothes and everything else. And that's just a simple timer, a simple irrigation system, and it's just regular potable water that gets put into the system while you're on that 2-week vacation, or a month or so.
So if I'm understanding correctly, you could use that instead of like setting a sprinkler system, for example, to be on a timer while you're away.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And I did have one other question. Earlier, you were talking about using water from your shower as well as using water from your like washer and dryer. Is one preferred over the other, or those two things that can be combined?
The shower is by far the better, because it has less particulate matter in it, meaning that when you wash clothes and you dry them and you pull out that lint ball from the dryer, that same lint ball is in your water, and so you get a lot of that lint out to the gray water system. Now, I lean really heavily towards environmentalists, and what I've discovered is that same lint ball is one of the problems we're having with what's called microplastics in the ocean. And those microplastics are from our clothing as we wash it, and it goes out to the treatment plant, and the treatment plant isn't equipped to grab those microplastics. So if we use our laundry water in our landscape, it's a better way to divert those microplastics into a soil that over, sure, it could be a century before those plastics break down, but it's better than them going out to the ocean where they're accumulating and getting concentrated in fish, things that we eat. So that's a little side note.
Joseph, can you address the financial benefits of a gray water system?
Oh, so gray water, if you're looking at a ROI on your water, it's very long. It's 7 to 10 years. So it doesn't, we see it at two avenues. One, it's a feel good. So if you're a person who has disposable income, you want to do something for the environment and do something for your kids in the future, people you're going to touch that are going to live here for the next 80, 100 years, your grandkids, then it makes that sort of a benefit right there. Makes you feel good that you're doing something for the environment. On the economic side, the way that we've been able to justify for housing tracts and commercial buildings is that we use the gray water to grow trees, and those trees shade the building, which cuts the energy costs. And that then it has an ROI that's suitable within over the lifetime of the building still, but it's a way that you can justify putting a system in to grow this lush landscape that cools the environment and cools the trees, cools the building, and thus cuts the energy consumption on the building.
So I would imagine your water bill would drop a lot. I mean, if you're using a lot of water, I think, as a homeowner for irrigation of your yard. So reusing the water you're already using out in the yard, doesn't that save a lot of money?
It's just that water is such a low cost for California still, or for most places. Our typical water bill is, let's say it's on average, I think in Los Angeles, it's $5 per 786 gallons. They call it HCFs. So, but let's say it's $5 per 1,000 gallons. So you're going to save, maybe $20 per bill on an average house, but you also save another $20 on the sewage because you don't have that water that would typically come in and go out to the landscape. You're being charged sewer charges for it. So overall, you're going to, $20 to $40. So it's not a really big savings. When you start to look at multifamily houses and commercial buildings, then that water savings really starts to add up. So yeah, it's one of the things that it's hard to justify if you're looking at just the water savings off your water bill. I mean, I would be great if we received rebates for that, but our water departments and the people who actually offer those rebates don't see it that way yet.
Joseph, have you seen it increase property value at all?
Yeah, we have. We've actually seen a couple properties that were highlighted with the gray water. They called us up. They'd asked us about the gray water system, and they were offering the house as a more sustainable house with the solar panels and the battery backup and a gray water system and a smart irrigation and the trees and everything we talked about. This climate mitigation house was then marketed that way for a higher price. So just for that consumer that was really looking for something that was going to be able to go off grid if it needed to be.
So the environmental benefits seem to really outweigh even the financial benefits of this. That's what's maybe more important here.
That's what's starting to show in the marketplace, the environmental benefits.